and thanked him. He was a Samaritan. Jesus said in reply, 10 were cleansed. Were they not? Where are the other 9? Has none but this foreigner returned to give thanks to God? Then he said to him, stand up and go. Your faith has saved you. The gospel of the Lord. Well, the message of the readings today they're pretty simple. Some of it goes way back to the very first things that we've learned as small children. We got a good number of our youngsters here. What are one of the first things we teach our children when they want something they're to say? Please, very good class, please. And when they get what they want, what are they supposed to say? Excellent. Yeah, very, very basic things. Please and thank you, huh? We learned that from the time we can very beginnings of being able to talk. Now, complete a side note. You know, I did not start to talk until I was over 3 years of age. And my parents feared that something was wrong. And ever since I started to talk, I haven't stopped. You know, it's a true story. I was a late bloomer on the talking. I'm giving great dividends for the times that I missed. You know, if we look at the gospel, what do we see? We see the story of 10 people healed, right? And only one, the foreigner, the Samaritan, returning to say thank you. We presume, it doesn't specifically state, but we presume the other 9 were Jewish, were people from Israel. And that really connects perfectly to the first reading. We only have a small little part of that first reading, but very clearly in that first reading, we're reminded of the story of Naaman, who was looking for healing. Well, there were many of Jewish people, many Israelites, who were also suffering from leprosy, but it was only Naaman, the Syrian, who was healed. That's even referred to in the Gospels, in Jesus' own reflections, referring back to that Old Testament reading we heard. What is the message there? There's many, but I think perhaps the best message is that of the unexpected. You know, the unexpected thank you, perhaps the unexpected individual to assist. I'm going to guess for all of us, we're very good at doing the expected. You know, if we receive a birthday gift or a wedding gift, or we receive a graduation gift, you know, we're pretty good at saying thank you. You know, if it be verbally in person, if it be later in a note, we're very good at saying thank you. And certainly if we give a gift, you know, we expect that thank you either verbally or in a written note for those very ordinary, normal times. But out of all of the thank yous that I've received in the course of my life, which ones are the most memorable? The ones I never expected to receive. Those are the most memorable ones. Story I'm not sure if I ever shared here at St. Greg's, but at the time that my mother had passed away in 2004, it was January, very cold January, below zero temperatures, not only wind chill, the temperatures. And so many people came, the line was 2-3 hours long for the wake, and it was one of these that you just kind of file by, you know. And one individual who was in line came up to me and said, you know, you probably don't remember me. And I felt like saying, you're right, I don't. You know, the face was familiar, but certainly did not recall a name. And he recounted, he said, you know, about 10 years ago, you buried both my mother and my father. and you were so very kind. And I wanted to come back and first of all say thank you for that, and to also let you know that I am here for you as you now go through that same event of your life. A very memorable thank you in my life that I've received. And what's the simple message? Maybe this week, take an opportunity to either drop a note or get on the phone and call or physically see someone that you need to say thank you to. Maybe someone who will be very surprised to receive it, maybe someone who has really touched your life in some particular way, but you've never really articulated what they have done for you or words of thanks. Be like that one Samaritan out of the 10 who actually returned to say thank you. Maybe think about that. And on the other side of the coin, maybe just take some time in prayer and be thankful to God. Day in and day out, we receive so many beautiful blessings that we just almost take for granted. I know we don't, but they're not always conscious every day. Those simple things like food and shelter and clothing and those in our midst who we love, things that we can very easily certainly be appreciative for, but never really think clearly or thoroughly about how appreciative. Maybe take a little time to be that individual, go back to the adoration chapel or to sit at your own home and just really take a little time to simply thank God and all the blessings that you have received. The first message is that message of thanksgiving. And the second message is a very simple message, and it comes really from the second reading. Paul's letter to Timothy. Paul is in prison writing, and Paul is talking about being in chains, meaning he's in prison, and he ultimately gives a basic statement. He says, either we endure or we deny. Especially at second half of the reading, the last verses we hear that either we have the call of endurance in the name of Christ and living the gospel, or we deny Christ and the gospel. There's really two paths that Paul forges for us. Very often in our contemporary culture, we forge a third path, and that third path we hear of so often now that we're in political season, and that third path is, well, I personally don't believe this, but I can't stop someone else, and we don't really hear of an accounting for that in the teaching of Christ or Paul. We either endure and persevere in the teachings of Christ and the gospel, or we deny them. And so maybe this day, as we continue to reflect on these readings, just really reflect on that ability that you have to endure and to see if there is some area where perhaps you've denied. And if so, use this as an opportunity to return back to the Lord. And if we've forged that third path in our life, similarly, to take some time to reflect, how is it that I can come back and endure in the life of Christ? I'm going to guess all of us are engaged, in political debate these days and talking about all the issues going on in society and culture. It's a perfect opportunity for us to stand and endure with Christ and hopefully not deny Christ. So simply today, thank someone unexpectedly, thank God for those basic blessings of life, and recommit yourself to endure in living the gospel of Christ.